All right, welcome back, everybody. It's a beautiful Wednesday evening, and I just want to say, well, let's start off by giving thanks. Here in Florida, we actually we dodged a bullet. We dodged a Category 4 hurricane, which ended up being a Category 3 in North Florida. So we still got hit in the state, but in our Central Florida area, we were spared, but everything was shut down today. I even thought about, should we cancel? From yesterday, I was like, should we cancel since we have a hurricane tomorrow? And it was like, no, just go ahead. Our champions are waiting. They're in Trinidad. Anyways, so as long as we have Wi-Fi and we have health and strength, we have a show, right? So thank you for joining us, everyone. Welcome back to Caribbean Diaspora Vibes. My name is Donna Morton-Morgan, and I am the president of Caribbean American Diaspora, president of Women of Culture Incorporated, real estate broker, and life coach at Inner Vibes Consultant. Let me introduce to you our co-host, Dr. Bevon DeBrio. Hey, Bev, how are you?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Yes, and it's one that missed us, so we are good here in Florida. The usual is that something has to touch Florida, so we're glad that to come out today and celebrate the Trinidadians. We're going big, Trinidad all the way. So I'm supporting you guys, and Donna came with her red and black. I'm glad I added a little touch of white.
All
right, Stacey.
Right.
Thank you, Doc.
Well, Stacey says she's Trini to the bone, so she don't need none of our flowers. It's okay. It's okay. And I know Louis, when he gets back on, he has his Trini flag also. So, there he is. Hey, Louis, how are you?
I am great. Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. Yeah, we were just commenting that we see the big Trini flag behind you.
Yes. Celebrating. Big up to all our Trini brothers and sisters in Trinidad and across the world in the diaspora. Wherever you are, tomorrow is the big day, and we are so appreciative to all of the leaders, Eric, and all the men and women back then that carved this Independent Day out for us. Amen.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, just a second. So we just had a glitch. But just to say, yes, tomorrow, Louis, I was listening because I think there was a slight echo on your part, but I think it was just someone that signed on to you that was too close, so they can also just sign on maybe in another room, because I've had that happen to me. All right. Yes. So again, welcome back. So today it's about champions of Trinidad and Tobago. So we went all the way back, and we reached out to some amazing individuals that are contributing to their country in the most amazing ways. So first, we want to kick it off again with Reverend Stacey Ann. You may have heard her before, heard her story. So tonight, we want to recognize our hosts. We want to recognize these champions because they do go above and beyond. Right? It's easy for any of us that can just go to work and we just go home, close our doors, and we're not concerned about anything else, anyone else. That's an easy route in life. But when the individual, after a long day at work, after all their personal issues and family, and still take time to care for others, and to reach out and to make their country, their community a better place, that is worth recognizing. And that's what being a champion is all about. So we want to first start off with Reverend Stacey and hello, Reverend Stacey. You're again dear to my heart. Tell us a little snippet about you and what a day in your life looks like.
Well, I want to say a good day, good evening, good night, wherever you're viewing from via the World Wide Web. A day in my life is, words cannot explain. Before we started, Donna, I was saying, even before I go further, good night to the panel, Dr. Bev, PC, Police Constable Sascha Williams, out of my own nation, you, Donna, and Mr. Louise of the Diaspora, and those who are listening via the World Wide Web. A day in my life is not common because I'm not a common woman. It's uncommon. So sometimes I get up and I say, listen, today I'm going to pray, sip my coffee, and take a rest. But when we have people in society that are hurting, that are needing, that are wanting, there is no rest. If I can show you my cell phone, the calls, the texts, people find me on Facebook who I don't know, but they have that avenue to messenger. It is from as pampers for their baby to paying their rent and their children's food for their table. And yes, people will say, but there is mechanism in our country for that. But if I have a criminal record like I did and come out of the prison, everything is not as green as it looks. And I am a real talk preacher. So before I get certain assistance, I have to go through all the red tape. So, many times I want to lie down and sleep. But how can I do that when there are women that have lost everything like I did and starting afresh? There are women who are prone to domestic violence. And yes, there are NGOs that help. But how much could they do? There's a saying, it takes a village to grow a child. And sometimes you're the one with the necessity to help that child grow, and we shut our doors. Recently, I got like 40 pounds of chicken neck, back and neck, as we call it. And I took it from a politician. The politician blessed me with it. They called me fresh from the poultry depot. 40 pounds parcel in 3-pound bags. And there I was thinking only I like chicken neck, back and neck. When I started to show people who were driving, working, have family, and that I had back and neck, they run for it like if it was whole chicken. Because a pack of chicken neck, back and neck, or neck alone in our supermarket is $20 for a little bag. And I was giving you about $30, $40 free. I got some flour and some 100-pound flour and peas and rice. And there I was saying, boy, nobody will want this. People ran for it like I was giving out money. Why? Because there is a greater cause. The Bible says, is there not a cause? And I must say, there is cause. There is need for everyone to get on board. While we talk about recidivism in the prisons, why is men and women coming out of prison and going back in? Because we don't have the necessary, simple, basic thing as proper food to give without red tapes. Even the churches, and as a minister of the gospel, I will not hide. Sometimes the churches, if you're not a member of my church, you can't get a hamper. That is how dread it is sometimes. You have to go to the church to get a hamper. You have to go about 3 services. Yeah, it have some like that. And then it have some, you have a need, they fulfill it. But I'm saying this to say a day in my life could never be normal. When God has called me to be a restorer of the breach, there are women who are hurting. Some have food in the cupboard, but they're beaten. Some have food in the cupboard and big jobs, but nobody to love them. I have to play the role of listener, comforter, counselor, provider. And hear what? Those roles, I do it with nothing to naught. Sometimes little to naught. If people don't call me and say, woman of God, what is woman of transformation number? Which is very rare and apart. But when I speak into assignments as a minister, when I put on my ministerial hat, every money I make, or they bless me as an honorarium, big or small, I give back God his own first, and then I look to see after my bills who I can help. Because the thing is, when you're spiritual, not religious, God puts the burden on your heart to help people. And sometimes you want to keep your last 500 to buy a nice dress, but God put on your heart the girl down the road with the 3 children. What you will do, ignore them? And I don't believe in giving people my less or nothing. I believe in giving them my best. So I'm not going to give them the rice that have weeble or the meat that frostbite from 10 months in my deep freeze. No. So a day in my life is not normal because we don't have normal circumstances in the Caribbean, at least in Trinidad. There are women that are losing their children to the gangsters and the drug lords because they don't have food. Don't ask me and say, but why the parents don't work? How could they get a job? Some of them have criminal records like mine. Some of them don't even know how to read and write. Yes, we'll say the government give them altar and schooling, yeah. But how a woman could go and do altar when she rent and pay? She have to get this. How is it? So what do you think she will do? So crime is high, and that's a whole nother topic because the gunman have the solution, the quick solution that will cost you a lifetime of pain sometime. So a day in my life is not normal when there are not no normal situations, and I have to address them. And besides that, being the head chairwoman of COPCAM, which is the Council of Prison Chaplain and Ministers, I oversee 9 prisons, from prisoner to president. So I have to hear what chaplains are saying of Hindu, Muslim, Rastafarian, Christian, everybody. And then I have to hear what the prisoners need to hear, what they want, what they need. Then I have to pray for my officers of the prisons because they too have their struggle. So a day in my life is not normal. But God is faithful and he gives me the grace that is sufficient to do what I have to do what I have to do for who I have to do it for. And as I will reiterate, some may not want food, but they want somebody to listen to help them from walking off that ledge. Some may not want to walk off the ledge, but they have addiction to things and they need somebody to help them walk through that journey of the cold turkey stage. I've met many, whether it be sexual immorality, pornography, drugs, alcohol, whatever. Even lying is an addiction. I have to help them because I once was lost. So I have to help those who are lost be found in any way I can, believe it or not. No matter the race, creed, or religion, a day in my life is not normal because nothing is normal about my life or the nation I live in. I have to help the people.
Thank you, Reverend Stacey. So we are entering 62 years, is it, of independence?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
For Trinidad, if I'm not mistaken. 61 years. Okay. So we want to just, and we'll come back to you, Reverend Stacey. We'll ask you about, things happening in Trinidad. But let's come back and let's go to Miss Sascha Williams Goddard. And, welcome again. Thank you for joining us. You give us a snippet of who you are and what your day is like, on any given day.
Hi, so thanks so much again for having me, Donna, the team, Dr. Bev, Louis, thank you guys. And I love to see you all repping your red, white, and black. It just warms me. I feel, and don't worry, Reverend, I know your heart, your blood, everything, your soul is repping that red, white, and black. So we're not even holding anything against you. But it's so exciting that our nation is now celebrating such a tremendous milestone. And even in the midst of the celebration and the festivities, and we're so excited, there's so many things planned, and the place is beautifully decorated, draped in our flags everywhere you turn, and it's wonderful. The atmosphere is really, really nice when you drive around the country right now. But I have to echo what Reverend was saying. There's still so much work to be done, and I'm so grateful that you all choose to highlight and and encourage us, champions, as you call us, in what we do, because sometimes this feels like an uphill battle. It's a tireless, thankless type of a route to decide to travel on. But, you know, it's good and rewarding because we know why we are in this. We know the reason that we got involved in getting into the communities, getting into families, into their situations, wanting to assist. You know, my particular area is more of law enforcement, conflict. So I am a police officer. As some of you may know, I am a community-oriented policing officer. I also run a police youth club. So I do a lot of youth intervention, rehabilitation, those types of programs. I am a community outreach specialist, so to speak, and a community policing trainer. So I also train my colleagues in the philosophy of community policing. We're trying to build or rebuild that community involvement, that engagement with our community and law enforcement so that we can, of course, solve crime and build a better nation for us all. Along with those things, I'm also a trained mediator. So I do a lot of conflict resolution. We have a program called the Community Conflict Resolution Center, or CCRC. And what we do, we offer mediation services for free. Those of you that know mediation and the fraternity of mediation, is pretty expensive. So we've teamed up with one of our biggest stakeholders, our backbone, so to speak, Mesticoto and the Officium training, and they help us really go into those communities and bring some of these services that were not traditionally available. We bring it down to the community at the community level. So right now we're doing mediation and conflict resolution in schools. We're doing it in communities. We're teaching it to families. We're doing it with parents, because people need to know how to communicate, how to resolve their conflict on their own. And if we look at our statistics, most of our violent crime is caused by some form of dispute or conflict. So that's our aim. We are aiming to reduce this violent crime spike that we've been experiencing in this country through alternative dispute resolution methods. So sometimes we're a really unconventional type of a team. We would do theater arts, we would do performances, we would do and teach conflict resolution skills in every unconventional way that you could think about. We use sports, we use everything, dance, drama, you name it. And it would be surprising to know how much conflict resolution can be taught using these alternative skills. So, you know, a day in my life, just like Reverend, is dynamic. If I am to give it a word, it's dynamic. It depends on the need at the time. It depends on the program. It depends on our targets. It depends on, you know, what we're trying to accomplish at the time. Right now, school is about to reopen. It's September. So, you know, we are full speed ahead into our schools, preparing our parents, preparing our young people for what's up ahead. We're trying to prevent those instances of violence that we've seen throughout the last academic year. We had quite a number of school fights. So we have a caravan. We're going to be going around to some schools, teaching some young people how to resolve conflict, working on their anger, working on the root causes, because we are not about putting plasters on sores. We are trying to get to the roots of the issues that we are seeing people are struggling with. Our aim is to really help people in a meaningful way. We're not about the grandiose photos and the photo ops and the media. We just want to have a better country so that when independence is celebrated, Republic Day is celebrated, that we can feel that sense of national pride that, you know, we are proud to belong to this place called Trinidad and Tobago. I love my country. I am an extreme patriot. I love everything about my country. Even though the crime is a bit high right now, I love my country. I love my island. And I would do whatever it takes. If I have to wake up and do it all over again and work and help build this nation, that is where my passion is. I think that's what I'm called to do, to make this land better for the generations to come. Somebody has to do it. And then I have 3 girls. I want them to have some good options out there, you know, some decent young people to choose from, some wholesome families to belong to, you know. So, I mean, where they gonna get them if we do nothing? If we sit back and we just enjoy the festivities, we just sit back and we relax. There's no time to relax right now. We just have to keep doing the work. And as much as people would say, and I heard Reverend Stacey say it as well, there are the systems, there's ministries, there are the things, there are the NGOs, there are people already, you know, that are supposed to be doing these things. But listen, if everybody sits and wait for somebody else to do it, it's never gonna get done. So the point is we just have to get up and do. And that's what we're about. That's what I'm about, just getting the job done day after day after day, as long as I have breath.
Love it, love it. Dr. Bev?
Awesome, awesome. I like the fact that Ms. Williams, you said you want to fight, you want to be a part of the prevention, not a part of the cure. That is so important, because so many times we wait and say, oh, we can fix this or we can fix that. But the reality is, why not prevent it? That is so much more, so much powerful if we can just get to the root of the problem.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, Louis, when we came on, we did not get the station ID, and you know, so you're muted.
Yeah, that is so true, Donna. And I do want to take the time to welcome all the listeners on the Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. We are live, and you know, I just want to commend these 2 young ladies that show up this evening to represent 61 years of independence for Trinidad and Tobago. We got a young lady today on the network earlier on that tells us, I mean, give us an excellent Donna history of Trinidad and Tobago, their music, their culture. And so my question to you ladies this evening, Reverend Stacey Ann and Mrs. Williams, what do you think your country, and we are the new generation, do you think your country is heading in the right direction? And a 2-part question, you can answer either one of you. And where are the elders? Where are the elders? Is there a disconnect with our elders? I say our because I am from the same region, and we seems to have similar issues with crime and violence and lack of participation by the government. And so we can't sit and wait on the government. So I just leave you guys to either take one of the questions, elaborate on it, but are we getting the right feedback? Do we see the connection between the older and the younger generation?
I want to give way to Reverend. If you want to start, or you want me to start, tell me what.
Well, I don't put water in my wine, all right? I don't work for any government organization or anything, so I go in and get them it hard. Yes, there is a serious deterioration with the elders and the youths. Serious. And the second part, where do we see if our country is heading in the right direction? It depends on what direction we call right. Because if the country has more money, that doesn't mean we're still going in the right direction, whether we get more oil or gas. What is the right direction? That's the next question. Political parties has come and gone. We just came out of local government reform. And we are waiting to see what will be reformed, who will be reformed, and what is their level of reform. And as I listened to someone the other night, people and policies, a lot of policies are being made without hearing what the layman man on the ground needs. And how could we make policies? It's like you send me to the university and I now reach kindergarten. So policies are being made without hearing what the mere man on the ground need to make his community better. Imagine a simple thing like having community centers in our country. They have gone right down where sometimes gang leaders, now we are refurbishing and rebuilding and doing new community centers when all we could have done with the ones before was upkeep. Simple things like that. I am telling you, especially in so-called areas we call high risk, I can take you to a few. People are afraid to go into fix that, is this, is that. And there is a serious deterioration between the elders and the young people. And when you do find a few of the elders to connect with the young people, there is some sort of barrier still, whether it be race, whether it be language, whether it be subcultures, whatever, there is always. So the few that is trying to connect, there is a barrier still. There is a barrier, but there is the few.
In my experience, just to add to what Reverend is saying, my experience working with the communities, I see two categories of elderly people. There is that group of people that are just in fear. They're crippled with fear because they feel as though they are vulnerable. And if they speak out, they would become a target. So there's a group of our elderly population that is a little reluctant to be more assertive towards the youth. And then we have another group that it's like the blind leading the blind, so to speak. So they are doing just as bad or worse than what some of the younger people are doing. I saw a video online with a beautiful lady. She looked old enough to be my grandmother. And the woman's outfit was atrocious. I would never wear something like that. And further to that, her behavior was in this video, and she was among younger people. So I'm saying this is some of the issues we have with that generational gap, where the elder people should be guiding and leading. They are being influenced by society, by the trends of the younger group in the society, and they are also trying to fit in. So we have sort of a mixed dilemma where when it comes to that bridging that age gap and those generational gaps. So I do know that there is a sector of mature elderly people that want to do more, but I don't think that they feel secure enough to really put their hands to the work. So that's something that we definitely, people on the ground, CSOs, NPOs, NGOs, that's something that we really should be looking into. How do we empower not just the youth, because we've had a myriad of youth empowerment, women's empowerment, all sorts of empowerment, but what is happening to that vulnerable group of our elderly? Maybe that's a discussion that we need to have.
Right.
And I would just like to add before we move on to what Mrs. Goddard said. Most of the elders that we see adapting and trying to say them as friends with the young people and trying to fit in is a level of those in the high-risk community. Here why? Because sometimes it's their grandsons is the gang leaders. Their sons is the bosses. So there's not that they don't have a choice, but they rather there's a saying, if I can't beat my enemy, I join them. So they rather join, and you know what? At least until the mess hit the fan. Just recently, we had a mother murdered. They come and murder her. She run under the bed and they kill her. Because they come for who they come for. And sometimes you can't tell your own son or your daughter come out your house, because your daughter might be with one of the baddest man as I was, or your son might be one of the bosses. So you know how we go, he build a 2 house or 2 bedroom, he build something for his mother, he buy 2 TV and thing, and that's my son, and they come on the news. So that is one of the problem, one of the things that have some of the elders, while they have a gap with morals, immorality they have joined. When the law come in to correct, they have a problem. And the few that has, as Ms. Goddard said, that wants to do They will quicker do it in a church. Help the young people in the church, and they stay there or come in the prison and do some prison ministry, and yet they are skeptical. So she was right. But there is a reason why the lady dressed like that and behave so.
So part of it is economical problem because those
That's right.
They are depending on their grandson and their granddaughter to
or the daughter with the boss or the grandchildren father listen, money. You see money? And none of big money. Sometimes it's just enough to say I could eat chicken today and I have a flat screen TV. You understand? Or I could buy medication without waiting in the clinic. Simple things. And they join with the enemy. Real.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And as Sascha said, blind leading blind. They can't correct their own son. All are we smoking with, all are we liming, and all are we doing with thing.
Right. I think it's very popular across the US, especially when, you know, resources is not as readily available, for example, like here in the US. So let's touch on, as we wrap up our segment, let's touch on back to school. How is that right now? What's needed just to get kids ready for back to school?
Well, that's
such a sore topic sometimes, eh? Yeah, that's such a sore topic sometimes because my heart goes out to some families that I think that we have to change some things. We have to make some changes, especially where I have been saying for years, we need price controls. We need our consumer affairs to come in and set price controls on products. So every year we do, my organization, we do back to school drives. We give book bags and stationery. We would have had ours on Monday. We gave out to the members of the club, persons from the community. And we can't provide everything that they need. It's impossible for us to provide everything, but we give them enough to start school. But I know for certain that some of them, that's all they're gonna have. They're not going to get anything because the parents just are unable to afford the prices. I had one parent that called me in tears because one of her son's textbooks cost about $300 and something just for one textbook. And you know, we have the issue. When I was growing up, we recycled textbooks. So my older sibling, I would have used his when I got into that level or that class, and you know, my younger sibling could have used mine, and that was a way for my parents to sort of save money instead of having to purchase these textbooks over and over. Now we have this issue where you have to buy the revised edition, quote unquote, revised edition every year. And it's killing our parents. It's killing them because we have families with multiple children. And, you know, by the time one child uses a standard 3 text next year, that text is no longer valid and you have to get the revised edition, and the price has gone up. A primary school text now costs nothing below about $100. Multiply that by at least 6 texts, plus workbooks, plus notebooks, plus copybooks, plus pens, pencils, rulers. So, I mean, we have parents that live or depend on government.
I think so.
Assistance, or they are working for bare minimum wage or not daily paid. But when we try to meet as many of them, at least halfway as we can, but I think a lot more has to be done because this is the job of the NGOs are just getting tougher and tougher every year. When we try to do back to school, I would have been able to do a back to school drive a few years ago with a budget of about $10,000, and I would have been able to do a lot. Now this is costing me, I got a quotation in excess of 20,000, 30,000 to be able to do the same numbers. So, you know, I know inflation is a real thing. We can't prevent it, but I believe that there is a lot of greed in this industry, and we have to be aware that the economic status of our working class people and what they can afford. You're putting these children at greater risk when you price things, or these price controls are not set in place to ensure that they have the needs. This is not excess. This is not wants. This is not toys, and we're not even talking about storybooks and the fancy pens, and this is not even a brand name school bag. This is just bare minimum, basic, and people cannot afford. So I know, and I just want to say kudos to all of those NGOs, like myself and like Reverend, that continue to do this, because I know so many parents depend on this every year. So many parents cannot afford another way out. And it continues to be a sore point, but we have to keep working. But I'm appealing, and I'm going to keep appealing and writing my proposals and my correspondence, so that something can be done to assist our parents in a more sustainable, meaningful way.
And just adding to what Ms. Goddard said there, everything she said is true. So one book. So when someone sends you 100 US, that's one textbook, according to if the child is secondary, 13 years, 14. One of a book for a child was 375, and that's the basic school. We're not talking to if they pass for a so-called prestigious school. A school shirt, sometimes it's 30 US for one, according to the school. So sometimes you have to stretch. Some children are going out with just copybook. And as Sascha said, pencil thing, listen, back in my days in the 70s, there was school grant the government used to give, but again, citizens was dishonest. Mothers were getting the school grant and doing their hair and paying rent and buying food because they couldn't get help no other way. So children were still going to school. I remember my mother getting 3 checks for her 3 daughters at the time. And she will buy our books, and the rest she will try to buy some food. In the 80s, 70s, 80s, school grant. Sascha, you remember that? I don't know if you're old enough to know that. You remember your mother used to get a grant, and they
yes,
go
but
and
those
they
things faded
cash.
out. Yeah.
Now we feel, because people have made it bad. The government tried. And as Sascha said, every year they change the book best by 2 pages and tell you about revise. A booklet for my daughter who is 15 years old was 3,500. That's 600 US for one child. So when you send 100 US, we have to see who one child we could give something to. We ain't talking about school sneakers yet. We have some pay, let's say it's like pay more. When they wear the sneakers twice, it's laughing because we have some road here and heat.
Yes.
Hear me and hear me well. So when we say we're doing the work, it is one another work to sit down and stretch and see, because that every child you want get something.
Right.
You're crying because you're feeling That's why we encourage international helpers. If you could pack 2-3 barrels, Sascha and Stacey, I sent 2 barrels of school bags, notebooks, copybooks, crayons. It helps a lot. Because when we clear those barrels, our NGO status, we get a little something off on customs. And we see for children, like 2 schools closes in June, late June, first week, July. We don't get that, and we don't know we have 50 school bags. Or 100 school bags came from Women of Culture Inc. or Dr. Bev or someone. Sascha and I switch it. We share it. All right, we get 100 bags, 50 for you, 50. That's a great help. We get 100 notebooks. We get 100 pencils because stationaries are cheap abroad. I used to live abroad. We get rubber, ruler, every little thing, lunch kits. We get some little white sneakers, little thing. Listen, it's not easy. And there are children going out Monday morning, the 4th. Some will not be going out. There are tears. And yet there are people who have, and they will not give. I am telling you, there are people who have, but they will rather go in a fancy restaurant and eat the biggest meal and throw away, that the meal they throw away could feed you and I. And then there is biasness. I am never afraid to talk. There are those who will help their people. So there are people who have, and they will give 400 bags to this organization because, they get their face on a picture. I don't be on all of that picture thing. I only have to do picture because some people, you just want them to see. Because one thing, when God give me money for people, is people. He does see about me. He supplies my need. I real. But then there are people who own stores and they only collaborate with certain NGOs, and we give them. I saw that recently. One NGO gave one person 500 school bags. Hear me and hear me well. 500 school bags and books and things. And that particular personal organization that got that didn't even call other organizations. Listen, we can give you 50, 50, 50, because it's all about show. But what a man sowed that they shall reap, and they have the reward right here. Thy Bible. I don't like to end it without Bible. Thy Bible. You have your reward right here when you do it for the honor and glory of men to see. We need help. We have children that need help.
Amen. Let me just
and I know jokey help, real help.
Yes. Let me just come in here real quick, guys. And I just want to make a quick announcement to our listeners. The Bible study for Pastor Restore the Path for Christ Church has been canceled for this evening because of the weather. And so they will return next week at the same time. So we'll continue. But I have a question for you, Reverend Stacey. I know you are involved with the community and your church. What role do you play in the life of, again, I know supplies is important to you guys over there, getting it because it's obviously it's cheaper when it comes from the state. How can we help here? Again, getting you supplies, and what is the quickest way to get you these supplies that you need?
Okay, so in our country, in Trinidad here, we have three ways of getting things quick. We have the DHL, but that is very costly. It comes in 2 days. DHL, Federal Express, that is a lot of money. So we kill that. We have shipping in the barrels, which take 2 to 3 weeks, as long as a month. 30 days to reach on our port. You pay your paperwork, $250 for your paperwork, and then you go and it's cleared in the customs, and the custom officers go through and they charge you. But when you carry an NGO license, sometimes you get the favor of God. Real, I've gotten favor already in clearing 7 and 8 barrels already with clothes and shoes, especially if you get some used clothes and shoes, stationery for back to school, and thing, you'll get favor. You'll get, once they know it's not, once you walk with your NGO ID, and your license registration, they give you something off. Then we have, if you want to go through the airport, which is AmriJet, I suggest them, you get stuff in 3-4 days, like a big box or a barrel. The paperwork is a little more, but in 4 or 5 days, the things are here and the children can get what they have to get. Because, and my role in my church and in my community and throughout, I do a lot of collaboration. However, the people I collaborate don't have much, but their heart is in it. So sometimes, as I said, I go and minister all over and people say, what's your NGO number? And what little they give me, I sit down with a pencil and I say, all right, I'll do that for that child. I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do. And I have 1 or 2 women friends who work in judiciary. I'll call them and say, sponsor a child today. Be a big mentor.
We send a barrel, you have a possible way to clear it. You guys can...
Yes. Yes, in 21 to 30 days, it will reach. The day you ship it, I wait in sometimes in 21 days, it reach, and then they call you for your paperwork. We work around I will work around getting it, and I know Ms. Goddard too will work around. We pay our own money and clear the paperwork, which is like 50 US, and then when the custom officer open it, we will get favor there. We'll work on that.
All right, amen.
Okay.
We'll collaborate with
yes,
that.
and send a list of
yes
needs, or the top, whether it's schools and we'll get our job is always to also get the diaspora involved, whether it's here in Florida, New York. I mean, we've got listeners all around, but sometimes hearing it from you, hearing the need from you guys, Sascha and Reverend Stacey, is way better than us trying to just say, hey, we need help, so this was a wonderful time, back to school time. Christmas is right around the corner, but the back to schools is essential, right? So we love supporting you, and we have you on because we realize the type of work and what you're up against. And
also, Reverend Stacey, give us a geographical area. Where are you so that our audience can know, those who are familiar or don't familiar with?
Well, Women of Transformation, I function from out of my house, right? My home, but that's in the San Juan area. Pittsburgh, San Juan, I'm right there. So if they're sending barrels, well, of course, they can get to me on Facebook, Messenger, Stacey Beckles, no Ann, or Women of Transformation. Now, there's several Women of Transformation internationally, but I'm local. They will see my face, and or they get to me, Stacey Beckles, they message me for info, and I tell them what to write on the box or the barrel. And I'm 20 minutes away from the port. Sascha know what I'm speaking about, Shed 10. 20 minutes on Ryson Road.
Your organization
Yes.
with women, correct, Reverend?
You all are really low, but I'm not hearing you all out at all.
yeah, so he's saying that your organization deals with women primarily.
Everyone, however, young girls and women is what I target. High risk, those at risk, those who have gone through trauma. However, of lately, God has been sending boys of last year, because I'm meeting a lot of mothers with only boy children. What I will do, tell them, sorry, I only help girls. No, I have to help the boys.
Right.
So this year we were able to only sponsor 6 by 5 by 15 children alone. And that 15 cost me a pretty penny. Asking this friend and that friend to contribute. I want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Eugenia Loban out of Bermuda, who was able to bless Women of Transformation with a token and went to 3 small children. We were able to thank her for that. And we thank Women of Culture Inc., who continue to support and will support as Ms. Morgan gives a commitment to support champions of all different regions.
Yeah, and we'll join in with Donna and work with her to try and get you guys some items over there as soon as possible.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
and
much.
Dr. Bev and everyone else.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Much
And
appreciated.
Miss Sascha, where's your area, Miss Williams?
So I work in the St. Joseph area. However, because I am a police officer, I cover all areas, any country. So I go as far south, I go in west. Sometimes I have outreach in east, but my building is located in St. Joseph.
Joseph. Wonderful. And Women of Culture is also very involved in Second Chance here with individuals leaving incarceration. In fact, we have a resource fair coming up. And so I can see the collaboration where we bring this also on a global stage for you. Both of you are in that area. You police, Reverend Stacey's in prison, on the prison board. From what is your slogan, Reverend Stacey? From prisoner to
President.
If that is not a book.
Amen.
Not yet.
Dr. Arlene, you came on late. How are you?
I'm very well, and I'm happy to be here and to see champion the cause for children. My heart, your heart, our hearts.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Arlene.
Thank you so much.
All right. So as we wrap up this evening's show, we hope that your messages, go on for the local government there in Trinidad and Tobago, for the diaspora, to hear your pleas of the needs of the children, because that's what it's all about. You're doing work, but you can only do so much. You need help. You need support so that you can help. So we hope that we know that the diaspora comes out when it's partying, when it's carnival, when it's fete. We see the flags everywhere. And we want that same energy to continue when it's time to give back. Unfortunately, we have to admit that's the area that we see the decline when it's time to take that money out to say, let me help to sponsor a child. It could be once a year. If you can't do back to school because of your own children, maybe it's at Christmas, but maybe it's spring. But we do need to see that energy, just like waving the flag and the party, and we need to see it given back into the country. And you have two amazing women and leaders from Trinidad and Tobago that you can reach out, connect with us. So we're going to take this and again with Louis on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network to just get the word out, to connect with you guys, or connect through us, and we'll connect you. Reverend Stacey, if you'll send me your link again for your Facebook page, Sascha, or for you also, so we can share, for people to follow you on your social media and keep up with whatever's going on. But right now, back to school supplies are needed. School books, uniforms. We are blessed in the US in ways where we don't have to worry about kids going back to school. We have so many back to school drives where they can get backpacks and paper pencils and all these things. All we have to worry about is clothes. So, but not so in the Caribbean region, right? So understand that, whether you're from Trinidad or you're not from, or just realize this is to benefit children and families. All right.
Yeah, Donna, and I do like what Ms. Williams, Sascha, said earlier on. How can we find a way to empower the elderly? That is a subject I think we need to take on, Donna, and let's figure out a way, because it is very sad, and not only in Trinidad, but in the other part of the Caribbean islands, including Jamaica. Our older folks, they are scared. They should not be. They should be empowered to speak and to encourage and to guide the young generation. It can't be that we just continue to allow the young people to kill off the grandmother and the mother, the people with the knowledge and the know-how, how to fix things, make things happen. I grew up with my grandmother, so I can tell you it was a blessing that I grew up with my grandmother today, and whatever I become, it is a testament to my grandparents. And so we can't continue. We have to find a way to empower them. Reverend Stacey, I know you're in a great position as a leader, as a church leader in your country. And we want to support you to do what is necessary to help to empower our older people so that they can get back educating and guiding our young people.
Yes, I think one of the greatest thing to get, what I have seen in my tenure, and Sascha could attest to this or agree with me, a person like me who came out from behind the prison walls, when people see me, they don't see the smoke or smell smoke, as the Bible says. So when they see or hear what I have to say, they be like, because you see, people have a notion of crime, how crime looks. And that's a whole nother topic, how a prisoner looks, or how an ex-convict look. I was an ex-convict. How does an ex-convict look? Please. So when they hear me speak and see me trotting my high heels and my Tahari suit and my guest pocketbook, or my Payless shoes and my rainbow handbag, then they say, but wait, she was in prison. And people like what they see, a transformed life.
Yes.
They like testimonies. And the elders, like in our country and like anywhere else, they want to see. So you're doing with the youths, okay, what have you done with the youths Have you taken, like I get young men into programs like CCC, My Lot. They have no mother, their father might be somewhere, I help them. We have that's what you call success stories. What are your success story? To draw them, you have to give them a bit for them to see this is what I'll be doing. Okay, so this young man, so when they hear me, or Miss Goddard bring a young man or a young lady who has been given trouble in the community they have been working in, okay, I'll be a part of this, because people like to be a part of a movement and not be a monument. We are a movement, not a monument. And the Bible says everywhere Christ went, he was doing good. So people want to see the good in what you're doing to invest. People like to see where their resources is going. Okay, they don't care if you get them 20 at the same pit here. They could say, and their name is mentioned, because it's all about your name. So one of the ways we can inculcate the elders is with testimonies. This young man was smoking weed. He was given trouble. Today he's here, finished a plumbing course, graduated. People like these things, and he's trying. This young girl came out of prison. She has done this. She has paid her dues. She's trying. People go by what they see.
True. Amen.
All right. Amen. Right, great. I love it. I love the energy you guys bring to the table. God bless you. As you know, as another Caribbean person, I am so proud of the energy you guys bring and the concern and the community togetherness. And so we wish you all the best. And we hope all our listeners and viewers will take the time to call. You can call the station here, 407-676-9023. And we'll be glad to put you on to Donna or any one of these young ladies to help in any way, shape, or form. Cash us $20, cash us $5, $10. It doesn't matter how much it is. Cash app some money to us and we'll get it over to Trinidad to them.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Right.
All right. So, and definitely identify just, Trinidad, because we're doing a global back to school for Antigua and Barbuda, for Haiti, for Jamaica, for Trinidad, for St. Lucia. So definitely, just indicate TNT. That's all you need is TNT. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. I am actually having another show that will be beginning at 8 o'clock called Hidden Pain. So we're gonna stop our live stream with Caribbean Diaspora Vibes. So for those of you that are on Zoom, you don't have to get off, but we're gonna just stop our Facebook live stream, and then we'll continue with hearing about, the hidden pain. For those, any family members that struggling with chronic illness, with addiction, with grief, all these hidden pain that we deal with on a daily basis. Will stay tuned. So until next time for Caribbean Diaspora Vibes, I want to say again, God bless and thank you, Sascha, Williams, Goddard. Thank you, Reverend Stacey, and thank you, Louis.
Right.
Thanks, Dr. Bavon, looking fabulous as usual. Boy, I don't know where you go for your stylist and your
Love it. God bless you all.
Bye, Miss Stacey. Bye, everyone. Bye, Miss Williams.
Blessings, everyone. Have a good night.
We'll reach out to you guys. It was an awesome
Yes, thank you, Dr. Adams, Dr. Bev. Donna, thank you,
Bev,
Louise.
praying for
Sascha,
you all.
blessings.
all right. God bless.
Blessings,
Bless.
Stacey. Blessings, everybody.
Stay tuned right here on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network for more music coming up.